zur neuen Ausgabe SI Talk und Vancouver 2020. Habe ich schon gesagt, der Markt scheint zu drehen und habe eine neue Story, sozusagen ein Startinterview. John Anderson ist hier und Triumph Gold, die ist auch bei uns relativ bekannt, weil die News auch distribuiert werden. Und jetzt schauen wir uns mal an, was die Company eigentlich wirklich zu bieten hat. John, thank you to have time. I said in my German introduction, this is a start interview. So we never done an interview before. So the people don't know what you're doing. So give us the 30-second elevator pitch of your company.
Okay, thank you very much for having us, and thank you for all listening. Triumph Gold Corporation is a company that is a mineral exploration company in the Yukon, Canada, which is one of the biggest beneficiaries of the old gold rush back in the 1800s. And the company was actually founded by a prospector and his wife back 2003 when the laws in the Yukon changed, where the Yukon government got control of its natural resources from the Canadian government. And in the previous 25 years, there had been almost no exploration since the last real boom in 1981 in the gold sector. So the fact that it was opening up, you had an area that had no modern exploration from 1981 onwards. It was just screaming for exploration. So the old management and the founders of the company did a really good job putting together this property package. And when you're doing exploration in a remote area such as the Yukon, cost is very expensive because you have to helicopter your material in, and there's it's got a lot of grass cover and soil cover, so outcrops aren't easily recognized. That was different with Northern Free or Triumph Gold. It used to be called Northern Free Gold before we took it over. And it had the only property in the Yukon at that time that had a district-sized scale of property, had a lot of historical work on it. There was over 80 years of work done on the property previously to 1981. Scores many different owners. But it was also the only property that had a government infrastructure right to the property and through the property. So we have a government-maintained road right off the Klondike Highway that goes up to service the Minto Mine and up into Alaska. You can drive right there, and about 3 hours northwest of the capital of Whitehorse, you can drive right to our property.
Wow, that's a big advantage against the other ones. So what you're doing in the last year, so that then Yukon is now back, I must say, after some acquisitions in the area, some discoveries. So Yukon
and the major companies have shown up.
Yeah.
And there's been mines that have actually been opened up in the last few years. So the Minto mine that Capstone was operating for 12 years is up and operating. The Chinese ran Yukon Zinc, which was the Wolverine zinc mine for a number of years. They put $1.2 billion in. It's private. No one really knows much about it. And then most recently, Victoria Gold opened up the Eagle mine in September. So that's part of it, but all the big companies are there. After the previous management had done a really good job of exploration, I'd raised quite a bit of money, in the tune of $35 million. They came up with some resources. Unfortunately, in 2013, when they came up with those resources, the market fell apart. Enter 2015. Myself and new management came in, took it over, refinanced the company, cleaned up the balance sheet, and we were waiting for, you're going to laugh, $1,600 gold before we did anything. So lo and behold, that's where we are now. However, what we did do is a neighbor of ours was bought for $520 million, Kaminak Resources, by Goldcorp, 2016. So we're sitting there saying we're next door neighbors, we got infrastructure, they don't have infrastructure. The management of Kaminak did a really good job promoting their project, moving it up the ladder chain, and working. So we thought, compelled, well, maybe we should do something. And so we built a team. We brought in a great technical group run by Tony Baresi, who was independently looking at the project with very skeptical eyes. He liked the project so much, he became our VP of Exploration. I just made him president just a few weeks ago. That with that movement, with Tony coming involved, and the project we had, we were able to attract some fairly large investors. So we have Gold 2000 as a key investor that's been there since day one. They've maintained their 10% ownership. We've got Newmont that bought 20% when it was Gold Corp. Zijin Mining Fund out of Asia, they have 10%. And Palisades Global, they have 15%. So we're looking at a project that is very valuable at a future gold price, which has now arrived. However, we've spent 3 years of exploration, and we think we're onto something fairly significant.
You say there was an old resource calculation 2013. Do you update this resource calculation so far?
We are. The resource was an inferred resource. So it was a large resource that what inferred means is when you're drilling and you drill down 600 meters, they say the ounces are there. What we've done is we're putting some real good, strong economic parameters on it. So when the resource comes out, it obviously won't be as large as what the old historical one that we don't even refer to or have referred to, but it'll be something that you can actually put your arms around it. But our exploration effort actually has been outside of that resource. We've drilled some of the deepest holes in the Yukon. We've discovered a very high-grade breccia zone that comes off of a porphyry. We found 2 of them. And right now we're just planning our program for next year. So something fairly significant, something that makes money at less than today's gold price. And we think we've got a tiger by the tail here.
What are some grades what you find? Then grade we know is king.
Yeah, no, it is. These are large underground bulk tonnage deposits. Yeah. So it's called block cave mining. So rather than go down with human shafts and really have to high grade, this project's the potential is so large, we have to look at a block cave. And a lot of people don't know what that is, but that's basically underground open pit mining.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's what the big guys are doing.
That's normally used by porphyry or something.
That's
porphyry
right.
Systems.
And that's what we're gaming on. We've got some high grade epithermal and mesothermal veins, some great skarns on the property that we will follow up next year. But this block cave target that we have is the grades are comparable, better than what you see the New Afton mine that New Gold has. It's been operating for years, very significantly in British Columbia. Better grade than the Red Chris mine that's just about to hit their underground. So we've got something we know that would be economically viable at today's prices. So we're looking at about a copper equivalent, over 1% copper equivalent, but it's gold. It's 2/3 gold. So we're looking at north of a gram gold plus 0.33% copper plus moly and other metals.
So what you're planning for 2020?
2020, we're waiting. We've still got results from last year still coming out. Believe it or not, it takes a long time.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're just finalizing that plan. We've got a new model where we've got a number of these cluster porphyries that we're going to be going after. We're waiting for inverted mag, basically an MRI of the area we're working on. That's going to be out soon. We've got the Irene vein, which was an epithermal vein that was discovered in 2013. We drilled it last year, multi-meters, multi-grams, extended it this year by trenching, and plan on connecting up with drill holes from the 1960s that look identical to what we have, 3.7 kilometers. So we built the road, and the idea is just drill these things for very inexpensively.
Can you say how many drill holes you will drill, or how large is the drill, or how many meters you will drill 2020?
We will have that planned out after we get our inverse mag. We've talked to our large shareholder Newmont, who's very supportive of it, and we're going to make a plan by the 1st of March.
Okay.
So
it's around PDEC.
Yes.
Around PDEC that you're coming up with the idea what you're doing this year.
Yeah, we know what we're going to be doing. It's just the magnitude of it, and it's all relative to Newmont support, which they have been extremely supportive of, and
it's clear then that they have a project next to them.
They have a project. They paid $520 for it. They've continued the project. We've got great infrastructure, and they love what we're doing.
And when you really can work in this area,
You can actually work 12 months of the year.
Really?
The Minto mine, 10 miles away, has been operating for 12 years, 24/7.
Yeah, it's a mine, but when you go to exploration, when it
Right.
makes really sense to do something.
Yeah.
Okay, you can do something in the wintertime, but I think it's cold there.
It's cold, and you can work there 12 months of the year. It is very cold. It's just more costly. So when it comes down to it, the biggest thing is you got to heat your water for your drilling rigs.
Mm-hmm.
And our drill lines are sometimes 15 kilometers long. So to heat that's expensive. So we wait for the weather to get better. This year we'll probably go out in April, but last year we were out in middle of March. We did some winter drilling. Specifically, we wanted to be in there for the winter because a certain area of the property is just more amenable for winter drilling.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Financing is always an issue, especially in this environment what we have in the past. You have very good shareholders, very large shareholders. So is financing a problem for you or not?
It has never been a problem. For the last 3 years, even a bear market, we've raised $5 to $6 million a year, all privately with our big shareholders.
Okay.
We have not really had much street support in the banks because the equity markets for the retail markets have not been there. We will probably go to the markets later on, but right now we've got enough money to do the Irene vein next year if we want and keep lights open and move the project forward. When we show the magnitude of the project, it may be much larger than $5 million. But until we finalize that, it's silly to go and raise money, especially at this valuation.
Yeah. When we can expect a new update on the resource?
We expect to have a resource before PDAC, as you
Okay.
referred to. Again, it's going to have strong economic numbers, and it's not on the big project that we've been drilling in the last 2 years. It was just really updating it and show at $1,500 gold with economic parameters. Here's what it is, and people can see, understand it.
Okay. Last question on shareholder structure.
Shareholder structure, we've got about 100 million shares out.
That's not too much.
Just a fraction under. Largest shareholder, again, is Newmont. They've got 18%. Palisades has 15% or 14%. Gold 2000 has 10%. Zijin Mining Fund has 10% out of Hong Kong. And we've got another number of institutions that have 3-4 million shares that have all participated in the private placement, still in the shares.
Okay, so that means the free float is relatively low.
I'd say it's about 30%.
Okay, that's a low number.
Yeah.
So to summarize this, financing is not an issue. A resource calculation should coming out. I updated before PDAC. The plan, what you are really doing, is also coming out for before PDAC. Then drilling starting hopefully in April. We speak about a very large, can I say, porphyry style deposit, block caving underground.
With high-grade mineralization at surface throughout the property.
With high-grade shoots and veins on the property, with very good infrastructure in the Yukon.
And district size, 200 square kilometers.
District size, and you have a very good shareholder base with Newmont and a few other groups, and the free float is only 30%.
Yep.
Miss I anything?
A low market cap, given that.
Okay, low market cap.
But no, it's really rewarding that we know we've got something, and it's exciting. Everyone's dedicated, and we know what the end game is here. We're gonna drill off. It's something a lot larger than we're going to be announcing what our resource is, and it's going to grow.
Ja, das war eine Erstinterview, Triumph Gold. Ja, ich habe es vorher schon zusammengefasst. Also erstens mal eine extrem gute oder interessante Aktionärstruktur. Newmont hat 18%, früher Goldcorp sind dort eingestiegen. Dort sollte man ja wissen, dass ja die früher das Coffee-Projekt von Carmignac gekauft haben für über 500 Millionen. Das liegt quasi daneben, hat allerdings weit weniger Infrastruktur. Dann muss man dazu sagen, was auch spannend war, er sagt, er hat nie Probleme gehabt, Finanzierung zu machen, weil die Aktionärstruktur so gut ist und das alles von den Aktionären kommt. Die wollen sich nicht verwässern lassen sozusagen, und dadurch war Finanzierung nie ein Problem. Was haben Sie? Sie haben eben District Play, sagt er wieder, 200 Quadratkilometer, wenn ich es richtig in Erinnerung habe. Es gibt eine alte Ressourcenschätzung, die wird abgedatet vor PDSI. Der Plan, was Sie heuer planen, kommt auch vor der PDSI raus. Warum auch? Weil eigentlich erst ab April wirklich gebohrt werden kann, denn man könnte 12 Monate im Jahr dort arbeiten, aber das Bohren wird teuer, weil es einfach kalt ist und das Wasser, was man zum Bohren braucht, muss aufgeheizt werden und das wären dann die größten Kosten und das macht keinen Sinn. So, wie schaut es generell aus? Das sind also quasi Porphyry-Style Untergrund-Targets, die sie mit Blockcaving abarbeiten. Das sind Riesenminen, die quasi da sind. Da werden wirklich von Riesentonnagen verarbeitet. Ist natürlich dann Lower Grade, nicht das Hochgradige. Aber was interessant ist, sie haben sozusagen diese hochgradigen Ore-Shoots, das gehen an die Oberfläche und dort bohren sie auch, diese Ore-Shoots bohren sie auch und dort kommen natürlich dann mehrere Gramm Gold raus. Und das ist ungefähr quasi das Projekt. Er sagt, die sind natürlich absolut unterbewertet. Ich glaube es ihm auch, weil wenn so große Aktionäre drinnen sind, die auch die Finanzierung für die weiteren Projekte übernehmen, dann sehen die das auch. Die wissen genau, was da rauskommt. Und das ist halt eine Frage der Zeit, bis das genug bohrt ist, bis das genug Ressourcen da sind, bis dann ein großer herkommt und dann sagt, so und jetzt ist es Zeit, jetzt kaufe ich das Ganze. Spannende Sache, extrem spannend, vor allem dann, wenn natürlich der Goldpreis steigt, weil dann ist nur mehr eine Frage der Zeit, bis das die Ressource groß genug ist. Ja, das war's von Triumph Gold, Jänner 2020, Vancouver. Tschüss und Baba. Thank you.
Thank you so much.